Hello, my friends, and how are you? I was just reading a message from one of my clients, and what she said was, I have all these challenges that come up, and I try to think of them as opportunities, but sometimes they're really difficult to deal with. So, what I'm going to talk to you about today are challenges, and especially about authors and their challenges when it comes to selling their books, because they work so hard to sell their books, but then they don't even get a chance to sell them after they've gone number one internationally. So I want to talk to you a few things today about challenges and about how to get your book sold. So hang in there with me. I'll be right back. And welcome back. I have some really fun little stories for you today and some great information that I think you're really going to love. So, one thing, let's address the challenges. Do you know that the bigger the challenge, the more you learn? If you ever look back on your life at all the challenges you've experienced and said to yourself, what the heck did I learn with all this? What was the point of it? Well, when we have these little challenges, we don't learn much of anything except, whew, I'm sure glad that's over with. But when we have a big challenge that lasts for days, sometimes months, and then there's those that last years, like me when I made the mistake of marrying a narcissist. That was the worst experience I've ever had. And it took me 7 years, almost 8 years to learn that challenge. That was a nightmare. You never want to get tangled up with one of those guys if you can help it. And it's interesting. I just reached out to an old friend that I hadn't talked to for a really long time. I was living over in Maui when I knew him, and he had gotten married. And I thought, he just texted me and said, oh, I'm down in Cabo with my son. And I said, oh, your wife didn't go? And he said, no, she's a narcissist. I got rid of her after 5 years. 5 years. That was quite a challenge. Don't you agree? To be married to a narcissist for 5 years. Well, it was horrible for me, having been married almost 8 years to a narcissist. So I learned a lot. I particularly learned a lot about what I don't want in my life. You have to go on later and discover what you do want. But usually when it's a challenge that's that big, you learn first off what you don't want. But like I said, keep in mind that you learn something very important. So let me tell you what he learned. He said, I'm going to go live up at Tahoe, in my favorite place in the whole world, now that I've finally gotten rid of her. She was holding him back. That's what narcissists do, because they think they're so much more important than you, and they lie to everybody about you. And sort of like in politics, once the lie is out there, it sticks. It's really impossible to change it. So narcissists are great about ruining people's relationships. And I'm all about building relationships. So that didn't fit in well with me at all. And it didn't fit in well with my friend either. But he learned a lot. He learned that he needs to live where he wants to live, because we don't know how long we're going to be around here in this lifetime. We have to think about these things. So now I want to talk to you about, what if you're an author? You may have already gone number one internationally, and that's such a great feeling, isn't it? I did too with my book, Selling Through Your Heart. But one of the most significant challenges authors face after publishing their book is selling it. They don't know how to market it, and they don't know how to sell it. And some of them go to those publicists. I looked into that. I think I've talked about this on the show before, where my client decided, oh no, I have to have a publicist. And she had a lot working against her. And I told her about this because the cover of her book wasn't attractive to the audience that she wanted to sell to. And she didn't know how to present it properly. But let me tell you what happened. She hired a publicist. It cost her $10,000. And the publisher set all these TV shows up for her. And she had to fly all over the US to appear on these TV shows. And what happened was she didn't get one sale. And you know how much it cost her to do all that flying around? Another $10,000. So it was going to take $20,000 worth of book sales just to overcome what she paid the publicist. So was she upside down? Big time. And as a result, she ended up losing her business. And now she's a realtor. Has nothing to do with what she wrote about or what she wanted to do with her business. But I use my books as a spine for making massive income. Ah, there it is. You're wondering about that, I bet. Yeah, how do I do that? Well, the honest truth is no one really buys what you have if they don't know you have it. And even though my client went to all those TV shows, she didn't sell it because she wasn't using the words that called her clients to her. In other words, she wasn't using words that like, oh, I want to do this. I really need that book. That book is going to change my life. She didn't say anything about the benefits in her book or how it was going to change her life. And that's one of the biggest mistakes the authors make, is that they don't talk about the benefits of what's in their book. Have you thought about that? Have you really looked at your chapters and thought about your benefits? Well, once you know your benefits, you're wondering, so how do I get the word out there? I'm going to tell you a little story. At 10 years old, I learned a very vital lesson from my Grandpa Lew. And he passed away some years ago, but I still adore the lessons he taught me. And I adored the man that he was because he was so independent. He stood on his own 2 feet. He wouldn't let anybody but my grandmother boss him around. And he was quite a charmer with the ladies. And I always felt very, very special when I had the time. I shouldn't say when I had the time, when he had the time to be with me. And one of my favorite places to visit with him as a young child was Mendocino. And I don't know if you've ever been to Mendocino, but it's located on the Pacific coast in Northern California. And I loved spending Sundays in the fresh air. It was so nice and cool with my grandpa in this quaint little town. And it really is a quaint town. It's got wooden sidewalks and overhangs and little park benches that you can sit on. It's really charming. If you ever get a chance to go there, go there. And there are certain times of the year where you can even go see the whales. But it is usually quite chilly. So one day we were sitting on one of these cute little benches under an overhang, or you could call it a covered walkway in the central part of town. And Grandpa pointed to a cardboard sign just a few feet away from us. And we were looking down at that. And he said, look, there's a Monte Cristo sandwich at that little restaurant. I love those sandwiches, and I've been craving one lately. How strange that I would find a Monte Cristo here in Mendocino. I would never have expected that. And he said to me, you see, if they didn't put that sign in front of us, I never would have known that a Monte Cristo sandwich was available to purchase in this little cafe. I would have missed it completely unless I made the effort to walk into the store to look at the menu. But that's not something I normally do. So they must have put that sign in a place where we couldn't possibly miss it, unless you were sleepwalking, of course. And I teased him and I said, yeah, for sure. Even then, you would trip over it. And I was just kind of nudging him on the elbow, and I loved him so much. And I loved his teachable moments. They were so special. And he went on to say, no matter what business you do, you want people to know about it. And if your message isn't glaringly visible for everyone to see, no one will buy and you'll be broke. Well, here's the secret. I've never forgotten my grandfather's advice, which is why my book, Selling Through Your Heart, is a big hit. But here's the secret. If I rely solely on Amazon, my book is practically invisible. Is your book practically invisible? Oh, sure. My book won 4 prestigious awards, and it went #1 in 4 countries in March of 2020. But now it's hanging out in the Amazon abyss, surrounded by a million other books. So it's up to me to bring attention to the importance of my book and the message that I share in that book for my clients. So one of the first steps is to think of ingenious ways to market your book for massive visibility without paying for ads. I hate paying for marketing my book with ads. It doesn't work. What I mean is to find unique opportunities and ideas to highlight your book. So what if I show you a few ideas I use so you can make money and get your nonfiction books onto the shelves of your potential clients without paying the ads for that? Would that be cool or what? Yeah. Well, that's a significant promise, don't you think? Well, I'm going to give it a try anyway, and I'm going to tell you how I'm going to do this. I have some ideas for you. Actually, I have 3 that I have for you. So the first is, we haven't been able to travel around much lately, but now things are starting to break through, so we can travel a bit. So here's my suggestion. If you can remove the cover off your book, which I can do, then you can put it in your suitcase. And when I travel to landmarks around the world, I take a book cover with me. It's really easy to pack. And if you don't have just a book cover, just take your book. Hopefully it's not too heavy. So when I get to the landmark, I take a picture of myself in front of the landmark holding my book cover. And then I post it on Facebook, and people love it. They followed me all over Europe when I did it. Well, it was 2 years ago. It was in 2019. In December, I went to London to speak, and I took my books, and they're heavy because they're hardcover. So I took the cover off, and I stood in front of Buckingham Palace. I stood in front of the Oaxaca ruins when I went to Mexico. I also went to Ireland. I stood there and held my book cover. And when I posted it on Facebook, everybody was excited to see where I was taking that book and where I was going to show up. And it kind of gives you a double hit too. Think about it this way. You get some visibility for yourself personally, and you get visibility for your book. And don't you agree? Free advertising is always the best press. And once you put it on Facebook, you could put it on Twitter, and you could put it on LinkedIn. You could put it wherever you want. The point is that your book visited that landmark. So don't forget that. That's one of my favorite things to do. And also, I will take the book whenever I'm having pictures taken that aren't, just local friends, personal. They're business friends. Then I make sure the book is in that picture also. So when they get the picture, they see the book too, and they think, oh my gosh, maybe I should get this book. It looks like it's really interesting. And plus it's in the picture with me, so I better know what it is all about. My second tip to you is to apply for awards. That's been so important. And I think that's a big part of why I won Top Business Coach and Top Motivational Speaker for 2020 from the International Association of Top Professionals. I applied for 4 different awards. Now, this isn't easy. I have to tell you, it's not easy. It's takes some work, and you got to send some books to them and explain what it's about. But I applied, and get your pens out because this will help you a little bit. I applied at the Next Generation Indie Awards, the Independent Press, the International Press, and the New York Big Books Awards. All four I applied to. All four I won awards in sales and marketing, and one in career. So that substantiated my book considerably more than others in the sales and marketing side. And all you need to do is to look them up on the internet and apply for them. Now, don't think that there isn't some competition. Oh my gosh, there's like thousands and thousands of people. My New York Big Books Award had 10,000 people competing in my category. International Press, I don't even have to tell you, that was like 17,000. Next Generation Indie, I think that was 7,000, somewhere in there. And I don't remember what the Independent Press was. But the good thing is when you win an award, and there's nothing to say that you will for sure, and be careful about the category that you enter it in. And if you've got a great cover, you could even enter your cover. But the problem with the cover is it doesn't really substantiate what's inside. So awards like these give your book massive visibility, because when you win, the group launches a press release that goes out to bring it to attention of big media. So I was on NBC, CBS, ABC. I don't think I was on Fox, if I remember right. But there were a myriad of others. There's so many others. And, you know, there's so many, I couldn't even, those are just the main ones, okay? So this is all free advertising. And all you did was submit your book for review. And we happen to have in the Authors and Speakers Visibility Playground one of the judges for the Next Generation Indie Awards. And no, I didn't even know her, and she did not judge my book, but we've become fast friends, and I've learned a lot from her, and she contributes a lot in our group. So the authors in our group learn a lot from her as well. But here's my favorite idea. And the reason I'm talking to you about it is it's coming up. Oh my gosh, it's coming up on April 19th, really fast. So what if you could drag your book out of the box in the back of your closet? Because if you don't have them printed on demand, then you've got boxes of books like I had before. And they're not flying out to the readers because you don't even want to look at that box. You know how hard you worked to get all that into the book and then had to publish it. It's not easy. And I think the part I hate the most is red penning, because the editor goes through it and red pens it, and you have to go back and rewrite everything that is red penned. And boy, you know, I have 367 pages in my book, so there was a lot of red pen, and it had 9 edits because I can't stand to have errors. So we had 9 edits. Now, I know you must have had at least 2 or 3 edits. And I hope it wasn't just your sister, because if it was just your sister, you probably don't want to enter it into the awards categories. It has to have everything put together properly. That's a big part of it. And having just our relatives read it and say, oh yeah, it's great, that doesn't do it. You have to make sure it's professionally edited so that you can compete with all those thousands of other people. But I digress. Back to what I was talking about. I have an idea that will absolutely blow you away, because it gets the book sales you desperately desire. And all you need to do is create a profitable program based on your book's messaging that your clients can't resist. And then you wrap your program around your book, and voila, your books sell like hotcakes. Now, what you're saying? You're thinking to yourself, what is she talking about? Okay. On May 19th, I am going to begin my 5-day challenge. Turn your $10 book into $1,000. You can make maybe 100,000 in a year once you learn how to do this, or maybe more. It just depends on how many times you want to run your program. Now, this 5-day challenge starts you off on developing a program around your nonfiction book. And guess what? It's free. It's free. It's a lot of fun. And you can do it all in 20 minutes a day. Why? Because I send you each day, when you sign up on the opt-in, I send you a little 10-minute video talking about what you are to do on that day to head toward developing your program. And then you have maybe 10 minutes of work to do. You post it in Facebook, and we give you lots of love because we know you're trying really hard. And you can go into the Authors and Speakers Visibility Playground and sign up and opt in. And I know you're going to have a good time because everybody had a good time. And guess what? I offer prizes every day. All you have to do is post in Facebook what it is and that I'm asking you to do on that day for the assignment. And if you get it in by 9 p.m. Pacific time, then you put in for a drawing to win the prize. And the grand prize, if you do all 5 days, on Sunday following, I do a grand prize, and you'll win $100 if your name is drawn, and you get 30 minutes with me to talk about how you can create your program. I think you'll have a lot of fun doing this because everybody had fun doing it last time. And it's so easy. It's just called the authors5daychallenge.com. That's it. Go to the authors, never mind, www.authors5daychallenge.com to opt in. And I look forward to learning about your book. I think you'll have a lot of fun. I'll be giving you some support. Other players in there will give you support. And we have a great time together. And I just want you to know, we have a heart-based community in the Authors and Speakers Visibility Playground. It's all heart-based, and we all work together. And if you'd like to kind of get your feet wet a little bit, come to our mastermind on Thursday at 10 Pacific time, and you can talk about your book there. We have a business mastermind, and we also use it as a referral group. So you get to give referrals to each other and make a referral fee. Is that cool or what? Because that's what we do in the US. We give referral fees to each other for referrals into our programs. So come and learn more about what the authors and speakers are doing. And if you have a nonfiction book, join us on May 19th. And like I said, there's no specific time you have to be anywhere. All you have to do is receive your email, watch the little video, and post your assignment. It's just that simple. You'll get done every day within 20 minutes, and there's only 5 days. That's almost no time at all. And I know you are going to love, love, love it. So remember, challenges, big challenges, are miserable, but you learn an awful lot. This is a short challenge, and you'll learn a lot with this too, because I'm going to be giving you my expertise for 5 days, starting May 19th. So don't forget to sign up, and I look forward to hearing more about you and your book. So just click the link down below. I'll put it in the description and join us. I so look forward to it. And that's all for today. Thanks so much for joining me.